wrong button.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the...
It's going to be hard to match it all up now.
It'll be hard to match it all up. And... We're here. We're here still. And so are you, turns out, because you're here right now with us in this moment. Also, our neighbor's rooster is with us in this moment. We've come home to a rooster in our neighbor's backyard because he put it there and because he was wanting to have it be alive there. And
Potentially two roosters.
Potentially two roosters. Potentially two cockfight. That's just a potential what if. And it's definitely keeping me awake in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
And it is creating a bit of a buzz inside of me that is of an anger side.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to be here. It's good to be with you guys and gals, all of you, both of you. It's good to be with both sides. And this is episode 5. And we're here, and our neighbors have a fucking rooster. So, yes, that's kind of where things have been going. This is the second time that we're trying to record this podcast. The first time, it didn't work out so well. Too much rooster talk, too much, I would say, unfiltered, blabs is what I will go with. Stuff that probably nobody's really wanting to hear, or probably would not continue to listen to the podcast if we were to air it. It just was kind of it was more of a work things out episode. And
you were very aggressive.
I was aggressive in the way of how I was communicating about people who live next to me, whether they be animal or not. And the things I was saying, some could say would maybe be a bit insensitive.
And I don't even think we need to delve too
deep.
Well,
I'm going to talk about every single thing that was inappropriate.
We didn't even air the episode, so I just think we just move on and just not repeat what you had said before.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. This is one thing that I do want to say before we get into the episode. That if you are the kind of person who owns a rooster, and you live in a neighborhood with other people that are in the surrounding areas, probably just a bag of feathers throw away, which means not very far because feathers don't travel very far. If you're one of those kind of people, I would like to urge you to readdress why you feel the need to have this bird and why you feel the need to be an inconsiderate neighbor. That's all. And that's the kindest way that I can say it this episode, because I surely can't try to do the same episode 3 times in a row. But that is what I will say. If you have a rooster and you live in a neighborhood with people around you that you can see with your eyeballs and also probably hear if you were to speak to them just from your porch to their porch, you should never have a rooster, and you should never have a dog with uncontrollable barks. You can have a dog, and it can be small, and it can bark. But if your dog has uncontrollable barks and you have a rooster, I would like you to move. And that's all I want to say about the rooster. And do you have anything that you'd like to touch on about the bird? Or birds, plural? There's 2 of them.
No, because I fear that might ignite
I'm not
more
trying
of
to
the same
activate.
flame. that
That's
was
the
within
thing.
you the other day.
This episode is about is about not activating the internal flame. This is what this episode is. This episode is about stability. This episode is about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Also, we don't know why the neighbors have the rooster.
I don't know, but I have a couple guesses.
Yeah, and we both agree that it seems awfully curious that one would have a rooster with no hens, and that one would have, especially that they would have maybe two roosters,
couple of cocks back
on the
there.
Opposite side of the yard in small cages.
Opposite ends.
Animal control said can't do anything about the cockfighting because we don't have evidence. But
we need to actually see them with their cocks out.
If anybody is ever suspicious of animal cruelty, dogfighting, cockfighting, please do contact your Humane Societies, SPCA, animal control, police, whatever.
Espanol, whatever you need to be or whatever you need to do, you need to contact them. Because it you can try to take the matters into your own hands, but that's plan B. Plan A is always go to the Humane Society, deal with the animal shelter people. Sorry, I just got a cat coming in here, and it's trying to also ignite my flame. So I need you to get out of here. Thank you. And that's
all
fine.
Right now, you're already going back to the place. I'm not doing this episode third time.
We need to move past the rooster, and that's all I would want to say. Thank you guys. I just want to say thank you to all you fringers out there. Thank you to you forehead slip curtains. All you guys out there are what is keeping this podcast alive, and is what ultimately keeping our dreams afloat. And we couldn't be doing this without you listening. So we're going to move right into the next thing here. Turns out we actually just got married.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So we're married now. That is both Mischa and I, and we are actually married together. We're not married to separate people. And so, yes, our bond is really stronger than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm. More legal.
Yeah, and you know that I'm not even really big into the government right now. I'm not even trying to go down that road in this conversation or even in this podcast. I'm not trying to go on a political, I'm not trying to go onto a government thing. But yes, we're legally married. Does that mean anything to me? No, I don't care about the legalities of it. What I care about is my love and the fact that we had the wedding. I don't give a shit, and this is with all due respect, I don't give a shit about the legalities of it.
Okay.
Because you know that I don't care about the government. You know I don't care about, and this is and this is no disrespect.
Sure.
But I don't care about the government or their clown show, and I don't care about roosters as well, if they live next to me in this house. But what I do care about most importantly is my love, and that we were able to kind of seal that bond on a spiritual level, not just a governmental level.
Yeah, but we did do it legally and not just spiritually.
Well, actually, we did it illegally because it turns out we actually signed the marriage certificate a few weeks before the wedding, which is actually not how you're supposed to do it. And then that guy fudged the papers.
Right.
So really, it's not even technically legally. We've been cheated. We've been cheated into our marriage. He's kind of cheated us into it. And that's kind of the ground for building a solid foundation. And we were married July 3rd. That's obviously not when this episode came out. We're a little bit, we're doing things different here. We're doing these episodes a little beforehand, if you will. So you're kind of getting an episode that is in the future, but also in the past at the same time, which is really ideal for listeners. So we traveled up to Spokane, Washington, because that's where I'm born and raised, with great values that were also instilled in me as a young child. And I remember even as a young child, my parents told me, if you ever grow up and you live next to other people in a neighborhood, never own a rooster. Do you understand, son?
You never had that conversation.
I guarantee that I had that conversation once or twice.
So we went up to Spokane.
We went up to Spokane, Washington,
married.
and it was beautiful. It was great to be away.
We drove.
Great to get out of Los Angeles.
Very great to get out
of Los Angeles. I'm so grateful to get out of Los Angeles. I love this city so much that I need to not be in it very much. And just because it can be too much. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to be in Spokane where people respect you a little bit more.
They were very nice.
Very
I would
nice.
say the drivers are much nicer than California drivers.
Yeah, well, there's just a nicer energy about people. People aren't so focused on themselves. They're not so focused on how this photo is going to look on this post, or
is let's not offend anybody who's.
First of all, I've literally posted a photo every single day we've been back. Totally. So I'm not even hating on that. I'm not even, just to be clear, not even hating at all. What I'm saying is just people are just more aware of other people. So there's a different, you're not so focused on yourself.
Totally. Maybe some less selfishness.
There's less.
LA is a very
selfish, and you have to be. And here's one thing that I do want to say about this city or town, whatever you want to call it. You do have to be selfish here. Granted, it's not healthy, but you have to be selfish.
A certain amount of selfishness. So
in this business, especially, you have to. Sure. And that's why you have to get out of here as much as possible. And that's why we went to Spokane and got married. Mm-hmm. We traveled up in the middle of, I don't know if you guys know what a heat dome is. And this is, for anybody who isn't as educated as you'd like to be, I'll basically break this down for you, because I broke it down for myself as well. And what it was is there was a heat dome going on the week of our wedding. And in a heat dome specifically in the Pacific Northwest, the Great PNW. And for you guys who don't know what a heat dome is, this is exactly what it is. It's basically a dome of heat, and it just stays there, and it doesn't really move at all. And it does get less over time, but it does keep you on your toes all of the time.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean in the way of we're having an outdoor wedding.
Oh, right.
We're getting there the week before the wedding. It's 115 degrees or something, and we're having a few people travel up for the wedding, and I'm not trying to cook everybody. Mm-hmm. And so really it was just up to God to fix this problem that ultimately God created, which was this heat dome.
You think God created it?
It's hard to say because, like I said, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But one thing that I do know is God is in charge of a lot of stuff. Mm. And I feel like God was on our side for sure on the wedding day, because each day that we were in Spokane, the temperature dropped. Mm-hmm. And each day the wedding temperature was getting lower and lower as the days were leading up to the wedding.
Yeah, it was actually, by the time of the wedding, I thought the weather was
incredible weather.
Still hot, but much better.
It was a July wedding. Mm-hmm. I would hate for there to be snow, because then we'd have a serious issue. Mm-hmm. July 3rd wedding with snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. Right. So basically that is what we were kind of dealing with on the way up there. It was a heat dome. It was incredibly hot on the travel up. It was about 118 degrees at some points.
At one point, yeah.
At some points. There were multiple points it was 118. It wasn't just 118 for one.
Okay.
So yeah.
That was pretty intense. That was scary for me because I didn't want to be one of the many cars pulled over to the side of the road with the hood up.
And what do you mean by scared?
Scared of being one of those cars pulled over to the side of the road with their hood up.
Right. And that's because you're fair-skinned?
No.
Because you're a woman?
No.
Because you're a man?
Because we had our dog Grace with us.
Respectfully, we did. We did have her. She's a dog.
And not only is she a dog who, can't sweat.
Well, we don't. First of all, we all
to cool
sweat.
herself down. Dogs don't sweat; they pant
to
cool themselves down.
But it is a form of sweating.
But sweat, I believe it's still. Dogs can overheat faster than a human. So
well, a lot of caravans can overheat as well. There were quite a few pulled over on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm. Right, and also Grace is
probably 99s, maybe a couple 2000s as well. But they were a little older. But
the cars?
Still, yeah, but still.
they weren't that old. There's plenty of new looking cars to me. But yeah, didn't want Grace, our dog, who is, a mystery age, but maybe 9, maybe 10, to be stuck out in the heat. She
could even be 15, and we don't even know.
That's highly unlikely, but yeah.
And that just goes to show you that really anything is possible. But yes, you're absolutely right. We don't really know how old she is, and she doesn't, I guess, sweat. So yeah, I could see how that would be scary for you. Mm-hmm. I guess I was more concerned in just having faith in God that we were going to be, kind of guided to what is a place of peace, a place of no worries, of no fears.
Well, I'm glad you felt that way.
Yeah. And turns out that's actually where we went.
We made it, and my car did very well.
It did well.
I was very
grateful. It is a great car. It is a, and this isn't, we're not bragging here because this isn't even my car, but it is a 2014 Prius C. So just so you guys can kind of put that in perspective of the reliability behind our hands. And luckily, and in God's hands too.
I once read that the Prius C, because it's very loud inside the car.
It is really hard to
when you're on the freeway.
Yeah, it's hard to listen to some music with it.
And I think it's just because it's while it has a very. I'm taking this from something I read. An expensive drivetrain.
What does that mean now? Drivetrain.
I take it to mean all of the goods inside that you really need to survive the 115-degree uphill climb. Mm-hmm. All of that is really great.
What is it now? Is that a drivetrain?
I mean, that's what I took from the article.
I don't even know if that's making sense.
Prius C has an expensive drivetrain, but not.
What it's saying is that it's going to cost a lot to hook up to a caboose.
No.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's saying.
No, but what's put on top of it is certainly not a Cadillac. You know what I mean?
We got kind of a fiberglass exterior.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So here's a
really good car.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's a really great car. Here's what I want to say to our listeners. If there's anybody out there who's dealing with mechanics, knows anything about drivetrains or any of that kind of locomotive stuff, please don't hesitate to reach out to us or comment in the comments section or send us an email. Because I'm not convinced that is exactly what a drivetrain is. And it's no disrespect to Mischa, and it's not because she's a woman, it's not because she's my wife that I don't really trust her. It's just that I don't think that's what a drivetrain is. So if you just have any insight into what an actual drivetrain is, just keep it very simple, very kind of layman's terms to understand. That would be greatly appreciated. Continue.
I'm done with that. We got to Spokane.
And we had ourselves a little surprise.
Yeah, our Airbnb that we got for the week so that we could have our space and also
a little safe haven.
Have a space that felt more like a house and not just a hotel or a motel. It was dirty and flooded.
It was flooded kind of like someone's water had broke a couple of times. And there was also a line of other pregnant women who were getting ready to have babies. And coincidentally, their waters broke also at the same time, all on the living room floor.
You could also just use the... you could also just say it was flooded like the AC was leaking for hours.
Yeah, but people aren't going to know how much water's leaking. If I say there's a line of pregnant women.
Have you ever watched a woman's water break?
I haven't had the pleasure yet. And I know that one day in my life, I will either check it out on YouTube or I will ask a woman at a hospital if I can just see something and just watch respectfully, if she's okay with it. If
she's at the hospital, chances are her water already broke.
Okay. Well, there's still chances are that it hasn't. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. If there's a line of women, say 15 healthy women, 15 healthy pregnant women who are walking through the apartment And coincidentally, their waters broke at the exact same place each time, and they stood and let it all break and release and then moved on. All 15 of those women, that puddle is about that size of puddle that the air conditioner was leaving. So you couldn't just say our air conditioner was just leaving a puddle of water, because how big is a puddle? Because I've seen an air conditioner leak before where it's just a drip. This was not a drip.
I think it was a drip. It was just going on for hours.
It was not a drip. It was more than it was a bit of a pour. And that's why I use the metaphor of a beautiful pregnant woman. Mm-hmm. So people understand. So yeah, we came into a bit of a wet Airbnb.
And then it was dirty, and there was dirt on the sponge.
There was dirt.
Was gross.
There was dirt everywhere. There happened to also be ants, because the ants, ants need water to stay alive. And what it was ants needing to survive, because there's a heat dome in the Pacific Northwest. They're getting all dried up. So they're actually kind of letting themselves into the apartment before we even had a chance to welcome ourselves, and started helping themselves to the water. Which really, it wasn't a part of the initial deal. And the Airbnb renters, they had mentioned nothing of ants before, and had not mentioned about us having guests upon our arrival. So there were several kind of things that rubbed us in a way of unpleasure.
So we stayed one night and we canceled the rest of our stay.
Yeah, so we stayed there one night, and then we did what she just said.
And then we went to your mom's.
And we went and stayed at my mom's house. We went and stayed at my wonderful mom's house, which was a bit of a turbulent landing, and not because of my mother, not because of me, and certainly not because of my my then soon wife. Do you want to go ahead and explain the situation, please, so I have a moment?
Well,
so basically, we get to my mom's house. And she is not there because she is a busy working woman, as all mothers are. And we get there and we see her boyfriend, Keith, great guy. I say, hey, Keith, good to see you. Give him a hug. This is my soon wife, Mischa. You've met her before. Here's what I do want to say about Grace. This is our dog, actually, who turns out is right in front of you. She doesn't like it when you touch her ears. She also isn't big on people grabbing her face. So, Keith, if you could just not grab her face or touch her ears, everything will be good. And he was a very understanding guy. He's a very understanding guy.
He's great.
He's owned several restaurants. I think he knows a lot about being understanding. And then we get inside, kind of make ourselves comfortable. And then my mother, my sweet mother, she comes home from work. And here's one thing you need to know about my mother. She likes herself a coffee. In a way of, she liked it so much, one time she actually bought a coffee stand and ran it for a few years because that's how much she liked it. And she came home from having just had a coffee and also a little biscotti. And I'm not trying to give you too much information, but that's just the truth. So she came home, she had a little biscotti, she had a little coffee on her breath. Go ahead, continue.
So she got on the floor.
So she gets down to see Grace, to get on the floor.
To greet Grace.
To greet Grace. This is our child.
But Grace, while very cute, hasn't... one wants to touch her because she is so cute. But she hadn't seen your mom in probably...
some years.
I don't know, 5?
That's a bit much. I'd say 4.
4 or 5?
I'd say 4 or 6, between that.
Okay. So it all kind of happened so fast. It seemed like Grace was giving her a few kisses on her mouth. But
kisses on the mouth, kind of what a dog does to show affection. What they'll do is they'll end up taking their tongue and wiping it on your face or really any part of your body.
Yeah, I think people get it. And but it really wasn't so much kisses as it probably was Grace searching for that biscotti aroma.
Yeah, she was probably wanting to feel some of or get a little of that flavor palette of what my mother was working with before she'd come home.
Because Grace is a big food-driven dog.
She's driven by food. It does keep her alive. And she is driven by it. So what happened was she ended up giving my mom some kisses on her mouth, and she's trying to basically lick up any crumbs that maybe my mom had.
Your mom reciprocated.
My mom reciprocated, and my mom, that's what you kind of do when someone gives you a little something, you give a little something back.
But then I think she took both hands
and she grabbed Grace's ears and head and basically pulled it toward her face.
I don't think she pulled. I think she
just held it.
Probably gently. But in that moment, I feel like Grace felt overwhelmed, like lots of dogs do.
And just basically mauled my mother's face. And
I wouldn't say mauled.
Well, she mauled it pretty good. Basically, blood was everywhere. My mom, her face is ruined.
Okay,
and
that's not at all true.
Well, she at least had a bit of a black eye, and she had a small puncture wound from a tooth. Mm-hmm. And she was a little bit spooked by the whole thing because it kind of threw her for a bit.
She handled it very well.
She handled it incredibly well. I thought she was honestly going to try to have Grace put down, but it turns out she was very understanding. She just understood. And that was good because she had literally just been kind of bit in the face.
But she iced her face a lot and
she took some
arnica.
Arnica. I don't know if you guys know about arnica, but it is a wonder of a drug. It is it basically reduces, it's an inflammation device, and
it's a natural supplement.
It's a natural, okay, but basically you take it and what it does is it fixes inflammation. And it inflames it to where it doesn't even need to be in your body anymore. Nope. So she was basically guzzling these things down, and that kind of was the cure all, aside from being on God's side, doing some prayers and a lot of ice. So that was basically day 2 of the wedding week.
And then we did our kind of bachelorette like thing the best we could.
And there were no whores or strippers or anything like that. Don't get that's not the kind of people we are. And respectfully, your thoughts are, considered, but that wasn't how we got down. Why don't you let them know?
Oh, well, I just did a burlesque class with some friends. It was super fun.
And it seemed like it was a good time. I ended up, so us gentlemen, we kept it clean. We went to a nice dinner at a place called Mizuna. It's a vegan friendly, and I don't even like to say that word, to be honest. I'm a plant-based guy, but they had lots of options for me. They had lots of options for everybody else. Turns out they actually had lots of dead animal in there as well. So it really appealed to everybody. And we went there. Then we went over to Bill's house. And if you don't know Bill the barber, Bill is my stepdad. We went to his backyard and did a little cornholing action and a little beer drinking and just guy stuff. Like if you were to walk into the back of the backyard and were to see us, you'd just say, oh, wow, yeah, they're doing guy stuff. And that's what we were doing because it was a guy's time. It was a time for us guys to be bachelors. And we had a good time over there.
Good.
Yeah, it was a really good time. And it was just kind of nice, just kind of
very few of you were bachelors.
We were all bachelors that night, that's for sure. There's no question about that.
Okay.
And just kind of felt good to just kind of be with the guys, you know what I mean? Just away from the gals and next to the guys. It just felt good. Felt good to kind of be in that environment again. A little masculinity in my life it was nice. So anyway, yeah, we ended up kind of going over to Bill's for a little bit, and then we ended up meeting up with you guys. Mm-hmm. That's when kind of the men greeted the women, came over to say a little hello at a little downtown speakeasy. Basically, I'm going to make this quick. We meet up with these gals, and everyone's having a good time. The girls just got done getting all horned up at the burlesque, and us guys then show up probably a little sweaty from cornholing, and there was just a lot of chemistry in the air. And
I went home.
Say what?
I went home.
You were at that place.
I did the burlesque, but I waited outside for you to bring me.
I remember that, but then when we got inside, there was a lot of chemistry between us.
You and I?
Yeah.
I never was inside the building with you.
Well, it turns out anyway. So basically, the guys were all there, and we all decide to close the place down. It's 10 o'clock. The place closes early. We close the place down at 10. And basically, the atmosphere is electric. And when we leave, we go to a different place. And this place, I'm not even going to say the name because it was mediocre. And I don't say mediocre as in the inside. I mean, just the bar owner was kind of a douche. And I don't say douche in a disrespectful way. I mean douche in a way of just a guy I don't really want to hang out with. And so we're there for a while. And what?
That's disrespectful.
It's not disrespect.
It is, but I mean, I'm just saying it's not respect, right? It's the opposite of respect. Because
no, I'm not disrespecting him. I just know I don't need to hang out with him.
Okay.
So we're there for a little bit. Then we end up wanting to go leave. Everyone's kind of trying to dance in there. And I know of a bar that does a little dancing. So we try to make our way over to that place. Turns out that place is only having dancing if you happen to have a mask. And I'm not talking Halloween. I'm talking COVID. And I don't have a COVID mask anymore because I've been vaccinated or whatever. And so I'm not wearing the mask anymore. So also half of the people there are no longer wearing the mask because we're just human beings. So we don't go into the bar. We end up having to go back to that place. But then on the way, we're like, we'll go to this other place. So when we go into this place that is just a dive, it's called Mootsie's. You guys would really probably not enjoy this place. It smells like urine and there's lots of leather and cigarette smoke. So we're there for a little bit. Basically, end of the night comes. It's 1 a.m. It's just myself and the last man standing. By last man standing, I mean my best man, as he should be the last man standing. And that's Daniel Shepard. Mm-hmm. And Daniel and we embrace and bid our farewells for the night. And then I walk back to my car, my grandmother's car that she's let me borrow, to the parking lot in which I've met the women at before, where the electricity was insane in the room. The car's not there. And the car's not in the parking lot anymore because the people who paint parking lots are painting the parking lot right now at 1 a.m. in the morning. And I don't know where they've placed my car, but I have a pretty good idea that's in a tow yard because I've been down this road before, or parking lot, however you want to say it. And I couldn't call an Uber because I didn't have a mask. I couldn't get into the car. Turns out you don't even actually have to have a mask to get into the Uber anymore. You can just get in. So I have to walk from downtown all the way up to the Airbnb, which we're staying at, the new Airbnb, which is your sister's Airbnb.
Which was phenomenal.
An incredible place.
I'd like to buy it one day.
That would be nice. It happened to be, though, probably 28 blocks away from where we were. So I had to walk 28 blocks up on the South Hill, which is a 42-degree incline.
Really lovely neighborhood.
It's a great neighborhood, sure, when you get up to it. But if you're just running up to it or walking up to it 1 a.m, it's the worst place that you would want to have lived. You would have wanted to live just downtown. Mm-hmm. So I had to go walking up there, and yes, it wasn't the most enjoyable walk. It took me an hour. So I was walking from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. just 3 days before I am to be wed, and
2 days.
2 days before I am to be wed, and I've got now blisters because I'm wearing Vans. I didn't wear socks with the Vans, so then my feet got sweaty. Then my feet got moisture in them, and then they get a little blistery. And then next thing you know, you're no longer wearing shoes. You're just carrying them because it hurts too much. You got nothing to say. My co-host is a dead person today, and that is fine.
I've heard this story about you in the car and the walking and
yeah, it was a long walk. And then I walked back to the place, and none of the pot that I've bought is there because it's all in the car. So it's all in the car. So I have no.
But I think you had asked me for a Xanax when you got home, when you got back.
Did I ask you for a Xanax?
You had asked me, yeah. You asked me which of these is Xanax.
Yes, and I took that.
No. But you did ask me for a Xanax, I thought.
No, it was a different night.
Got it.
It was a different night because I know not to drink and use those kind of things. Yeah, I'm a smart drug user. You don't mix that kind of stuff. And for any of our listeners, if you're ever feeling a bit intoxicated, or maybe you've had a few cocktails, don't pop a Xanax. It's not good to do that. You don't really want to mix the two of them. It could end up fatally. And fatally not in your favor because you'd be a dead person on the floor.
But then we got the car out the next day. Grandma was a little upset.
Yeah, I got the car out with my my cranky granny. She's been on the podcast before. She's just a sweet lady, but God, she was a cranky winch. Yeah, she came with me and she helped get it out. And I can say
it was
cranky,
really hot.
And that's
really hot week.
Really hot, not an excuse. It's my wedding week. I'm in town for a few days. Let's be on our best behavior. And I say cranky winch because I know she won't listen to this podcast. And if she does, then my God, why can't you have an iPhone and send me a text? You can't listen. Here's what I'm getting distracted right now because I'm getting a little flustered. I'm getting a little activated.
Did we just move on?
We can just move on.
Well, the wedding was really nice.
The wedding was nice. My grandmother does not have an iPhone. One of my grandmas does, and she's very, very keen on using it. And
sure.
And knows how to use it well. The other one, she's had a few, and she's gotten rid of them all. And it just gets me excited each time she gets them. And then she gets rid of them. Let's just move on. So we got married.
Yeah, it was really lovely.
It was a great wedding. It was fine.
Everyone who played a part in it.
Continue.
I don't think anyone really wants to hear about the wedding. It was...
Lord knows we've spent enough time talking about it.
So then we drive back home a couple days after the wedding, after your mom's birthday.
We have a little birthday with my mom up in Spokane. I know you guys don't really give a shit about that.
No, it was actually in Idaho.
Now. It was in Idaho. And respect to Idaho. Just nice to be back in Idaho after only having been there just about a month prior.
But anyway, we drive back. We start driving back. We decide to...
We take the coastal highway down.
To go to the Oregon coast and begin our trek and take, the Oregon coast down, which was really beautiful. But on our way there, we had some memories made.
You and I? We didn't have sex.
We had the interesting encounter with the man at the gas station.
We did. We had a very interesting encounter.
Yep.
Go ahead. Tell your story.
Well, I had to use the bathroom, so I asked you urgently,
right,
if you could find the next gas station stop there, and you did that.
Because I'm a man, and because I'm a husband.
Okay.
And as a job, as a husband, you listen to your wife most of the time.
So I went in the bathroom, and I came out, and there was a man there waiting for me.
Describe the man just so people have a little picture, if you will.
I would say he was 5'6".
Okay. Short guy.
A little bit 5'6", maybe pleasantly plump.
Okay, well, you don't need to be nice about the way that you describe him. You can just say the words. It's not going to be offensive.
He was maybe in his later 60s, early 70s.
Okay, so the guy's in his later 60s. Is about 5'6" to 5'8". He's definitely a little heavy set. He's got a big belly. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you don't need to say pleasantly plump when he's just got a big belly.
Okay. So anyway, the man...
and there's nothing wrong with a big belly. I know one day I'm going to have one, and I hope to God that is as big as this guy was because it looked good on him.
Okay, so anyway, the man stops me when I come out of the bathroom, so he's been waiting for me. And he tells me, hey, I saw your sign because you wrote just married on the car. I
thought it'd be really sweet. We had just, Mischa and I, we just got married. I thought maybe day or two after the wedding on the way back, I'd surprise her with a little sweet message, just married on the back of her car. Mm-hmm. So,
and I was surprised and I thought it was really sweet. And we got a lot of attention from other drivers, which was fun.
Yeah, a lot of cool honks. A lot of people happy for us.
Yeah.
A lot of people just happy for just people being in love.
So this man at the gas station, he said to me, I saw your sign and congratulations. And then he said, I just lost my wife on Wednesday. We were together for this many years.
45 years.
45, okay. And I, of course, gave him my condolences, and that was basically it.
So all I know is this is what happens. I pull into the Shell gas station because my wife has to take a piss. So she goes inside to use the restroom, and I'm sitting in the car minding my business when I hear a knock on my driver's side window, and I turn, and what I see is what seems to be a 5'7" dude, white male, older, probably late 60s, early 70s. He's holding a manila folder, and he wants me to unroll the window. I unroll the window, and he goes, "I just want to say congratulations." And I said, "Oh, wow, thank you so much." And then he pulls his folder open, and it's a wedding photo of him and his wife from on their wedding day. And he goes, "My wife just passed on Wednesday." And I said, "Oh, man, I'm so sorry." He said, "We were married 45 years." And I said, "Oh, wow, that's a long time." And he goes, "Yeah, I had to break her hymen on the first night. I had to give it 2 goes. I didn't break it the first time. I had to break it the second time." And I was like, "Hey, man, I don't know much about that." But I just congratulated him. And I said, "Well, sometimes it's good just to be thorough."
That's what you said to him.
I did, because I didn't know really what else to say. Also, I didn't even really know what a hymen was or really is.
Well, it's really not anything that it's a myth.
It's a myth.
No, hear me out.
I'll hear you.
It is a myth that the hymen is broken, and that's what happens when a woman loses her, or a female loses her virginity.
But this guy broke it. He knew for certain he broke it the second time. And
he was just he was ill-informed because there was nothing to break.
Well, so I'm certainly not going to be the one to tell him that when his wife has just passed. They've been together for 45 years. And
I'm not saying you should have told him that. It's fine that he believes that, right? That's fine.
Really, it's not, though, because he's believing something that's really false.
Along with a lot of other people.
But so what was it that he was breaking, you think, on the second go that made him so self-assured that he had actually done it that time? Because he didn't do it the first time. What happened the second time, do you think, where he was like, "That's it. That was it. For sure, I know it's done now."
So I don't know what the hymen is made out of, like what sort of
and is this
fleshy...
Is this named after somebody?
I don't know.
Okay. Well,
so I don't know what exactly, I don't think you call it skin. It's not like that, right? It's not our skin, but it is, whatever it is made out of. It's just something that's sort of a
kind of like a gatekeeper, really, in a way.
More of a curtain, less of a gate, more of just a curtain.
And are you meaning curtain like shower, or are you meaning curtain like theater? Because theater is like a thicker curtain. And I'm only asking for this kind of clarification, so I know. Oh, okay. Well, that's probably what happened when he went the second time.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's just hard. Okay.
Curtain. I say curtain versus gate.
Is it like sheer,
like
or is
unbreakable?
It like, right? Is it sheer, or is it blackout curtain?
It has a hole in it already.
Okay, so it's more sheer.
Okay.
Okay.
So, through intercourse,
which is sex, basically, for those of you who don't know what that means.
Through
anal.
People using their fingers.
Right.
The hymen can get stretched out.
Now, this is something that also happens when you have anal sex as well?
No.
Okay.
So sometimes when it is being stretched, it can bleed because just, like any part of your body that is, you stretch your,
What do I stretch? No, I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Look.
What am I stretching?
If somebody pulled on your thumb long enough, right, and the skin starts to come off, you're going to start bleeding.
If someone pulls on my finger long enough, I'll fart.
Okay. All I'm saying is the sometimes bleeding, which doesn't even happen for every...
What am I pulling that's bleeding like that?
Nothing.
There should be nothing that you know about, that's for sure. I don't care if you're my wife or not. Continue.
I don't know where I was.
Okay. Well, basically, this guy broke her hymen.
He didn't, but he believes that.
Okay. Well, he didn't. Okay. Well, what he did was he peeked his head through the curtain and saw the crowd. And now he's living he's trying to live his life the best way that he can now, which is which is without his head in the curtains and kind of alone. So respect to you, sir, and thank you so much for the kind wishes, and my condolences to you and your beautiful wife. Yeah. Great. So yeah, that was basically kind of the wedding sum up. There's really nothing else. Is there anything else to be summed up?
I mean, I really love the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, the Pacific Northwest is a really great place. It was really beautiful.
I would like
great
to
to just
there.
Yeah, and that's not happening right now. You know that we need to be here because Los Angeles is where the business is, and you know that I'm in the business. I think we are all aware that I'm in the business of doing business, and that's
I'm just
what
saying. One day
here.
it would be nice to live somewhere like that.
Yeah, well, one day when you're dead, you can be up there, and I mean that with all due respect. So, and maybe we'll talk about that. Maybe we can one day, if you're good. Maybe we can. It depends on...
This is where you lose fans.
Because of the Pacific Northwest comment?
No, when you're dead, you can live up there.
No, you can live up there when you're alive as well. Just because we're married doesn't mean you can't. You can do anything, literally anything that you want. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. But you can do anything you want. But not right now. Maybe in the future. Great. So this episode is actually probably going to be the second one that we cancel. I'm going to just try to do again, maybe at a different time, because it's just getting a little bit rocky. So I talked about the hymen and stuff. Great. This is one thing that actually do. We should check in here on the mental health front.
Yeah. How is your mental health?
My mental health is at a bit of I would say it's at a bit of a decline, which is oddly not what you would think for someone who just got married.
Well, there was a lot of buildup over the last year, a lot of planning for this huge event in our lives.
This day that I actually don't even remember, and not because I was stoned. I was a little stoned, a little at the end, and I maybe had a couple drinks throughout the day, but literally a day I don't even remember.
I remember.
Parts.
But yeah, it went by in a blur.
And then it just hit a depression, which is, I have to say, I think it's just what happens when you get married. My father's always told me about it. Told me be aware of it, know that it will happen. So,
your dad told you that you're going to get depressed after you get married?
Oh, I've heard just men in my life in general have said stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it's only just to motivate me to get married. So yeah, I don't know what's happening. I think maybe it's just been a lot of buildup. It's kind of like it's been a weekend at like a festival where maybe, you have all of these chemicals going through your brain. You have all this serotonin and dopamine and love and stuff. And then when the weekend's done, you've depleted so much of, I think that's exactly how it is.
I don't think that's at all what happens.
I think that's what it is, though, for the wet. It's all this buildup. It's all this emotion. It's all this dopamine, all the serotonin. And
there was no chemicals taken.
In your brain, there were chemicals taken.
You didn't take drugs that depleted your serotonin, did you?
No, I didn't take any of those.
Okay, so it's different than you were just explaining.
So what I am saying is that it is similar in the way of it's all this buildup and all this fun, and then it stops, and then now you're depleted of it.
Right. I think it's like, yes, all this buildup, and then we go spend these days with our loved ones in a beautiful city. And then we drive down the Oregon coast, and it's beautiful.
So beautiful.
And people are friendly, and then we came back to
fucking Rooster.
The Rooster and
the barking dogs.
Sure, and the barking dogs.
And the traffic.
the traffic
and the
congestion.
assholes on the road.
Yeah, so it was just a little bit of a
welcome home.
You could say that.
Yeah. So it's good to be back in LA. That's basically what we've kind of come to. Where I guess we're just kind of getting back into our normal mindset of just kind of being with it and going with it. No?
The normal mindset hopefully isn't depression.
Hopefully not. But what I am going to say is I'm never not tired of the traffic. I'm never not tired of all of the stuff here most of the time.
Yeah.
But I love it here.
You know, I try to not say too much my own self.
Yeah, you shouldn't, because what you do is I
draw your attention to it.
You draw my attention to it more.
Yeah,
and then you makes me, and you know that I get fixated on stuff. It's very easy for me to get fixated on things.
Yeah, so I've been trying not to.
Yeah, and that's been nice.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So anyway, thank you to our listeners for, listening to episode 5 of Heavy Bangs. We're just kind of getting into it. So mental health has taken a bit of a stroll. The rash is back. I'm not even going to go into it too much, but yeah, I'm a little itchy. I got a thing going on. I'm going to say I have a little itch going, probably because I'm not doing too well mentally. Mentally, I got a little struggle going. I'm dealing with a lot. I'm dealing with a little too at the same time. A lot and a little, which basically has my hands filled. So I got to get back on the good foot. I've been trying to make sure and do yoga every day. I didn't do it yesterday.
I think you just did it today.
I did it today, and I did it the day before yesterday.
Oh, good.
So thank you. Yes, thank you. Trying to get my mental health on a good foot for my wife.
Good.
So how's your mental health, by the way?
Oh, hey, I'm not going to lie.
It hasn't been the best, that's for sure.
Well, but I have been actively working toward it. But yes, I got out of the habit of daily yoga and meditation while we were gone. It was a lot of go. And so I've been back at it since we've been home every day. But each day has been more of a struggle than usual.
I have noticed that. And let's continue on to our next part. Thank you guys so much. Just make sure and do your due diligence for your mental health, and do what you need to do to get that thing thinking right. You know what I mean? You got to get that thing thinking good. Yeah?
Yep.
God, what a train wreck. Mischa learns stuff. Wow, it's that time. It's that time where we get to sit back, where we get to kind of learn a little, or maybe learn a lot, depending on what she's bringing to the table. And actually, depending on how accurate that information actually is, because it turns out that it could be false 50% of the time. So here we go. Let's kind of get into it. What did you bring to the table today? This is kind of your big moment on the podcast. So go ahead and take the wheel and steer it for a bit, if you will, but don't drive it too fast.
Okay. So I guess maybe this is a bit of a sensitive subject for us because we're not sure when we get to
if you ask me if I've been vaccinated, I swear to fucking God. What are you going to say?
I was talking about our honeymoon.
Honeymoon, you guys. We are planning our honeymoon.
So
love it.
We wanted to go to Bali. So like I was saying before I was interrupted and lost my train of thought.
Do you need us to take a moment?
Is a bit of a sensitive subject for us because our honeymoon is a bit up in the air. We had wanted to go to Bali.
Yeah, it's in the air.
But a lot of the flights do seem like altogether it's about 30 hours in the air.
I'm not concerned about the flight though.
But at the moment, I feel like it's a little far to go when...
You're not wanting to travel that far because of our dog, Grace,
yeah.
Which is understandable.
Yep.
Here's what I want to say. I don't want to be 30 hours away from a dog who is having heart issues.
Yep.
So I understand that.
Okay. So anyway, we talked about maybe going somewhere closer.
We have talked about that.
What I'm bringing to the table today is information about Bali.
I love that. And we're going to do it one more time. Mischa learns stuff. It's that time, you guys. Looks like we're going to do some stuff about some Bali.
Yep.
Go ahead and lead us in with that, Mischa.
So everything I've read about Bali only makes me want to go more. It is definitely, it's now at the top of my list of
it's
places.
Almost Paullin. And I don't even mean to pick that low-hanging fruit there, but I had to.
Okay. So yeah, it's an incredible island with everything I've read says that the Balinese people are some of the friendliest people you'll meet when you travel around the world.
I feel like a lot of people who live on islands are just kind of kinder.
I wouldn't know.
I think because they don't have geographically so much land that when other people come who live on larger lands, when they come to those smaller lands, they're just kind of grateful to see them and have them there.
I don't know if
Well, we'll have to find out when we go there one day.
Okay. So yeah, they're a very, very religious people, very spiritual. They hold constant ceremonies and rituals that they're actually very welcoming to tourists. You're able to, I don't know about so much take part, but you can definitely witness it.
The sacrifices and stuff.
Their ceremonies and their rituals. Gosh, you really sort of.
Are you choking right now in your moment?
You keep interrupting me.
Oh, no. I'm just trying to understand.
Okay.
Yeah. No, so sorry if my questions are throwing you, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, actually I don't even remember what your question was anymore. So anyway, about Bali. I just found myself kind of sort of like a little bit fell in love with this place from everything I've read about it, and I haven't even been there yet. But some cool things about the Balinese people is, so Bali is an island in Indonesia, as we know.
Which is in Asia. If you guys don't know, geographically, it's in the Asia part.
Mm-hmm. And, oh God, where was I?
You're talking about it being an island. It's in Indonesia.
Okay, right. So Indonesia is mostly a Islamic country now.
Okay.
But Bali is most Balinese people. Most of Bali is actually Hindu. There are Christians that live there. There are Islamic people who live there, but the main religion is Hinduism. But their version of Hinduism is a little bit different than the Hinduism you'll see in India. And I don't know those details so much. It's just something that I've read a couple times.
Oh, great.
So they have, this isn't going great.
No, this is your moment. I thought you had studied.
I did. I did. I have.
You're talking about.
I guess I feel.
What do you feel?
A little annoyed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why are you feeling annoyed?
Just trying to get this information.
Yeah,
out.
no, I'm stoked to learn about it. I'm stoked to learn about the people of Bali, how kind they are, and how.
So one of the trippy things about Balinese people is their name and the system that is used for naming them. So it's like almost like a 3 or 4 part thing where first off you have these names that are given for the firstborn, secondborn, thirdborn, fourthborn, and then if a family continues beyond that, those names are kind of repeated, and I'll go into those in a second. But then you have this other grouping of names which will come from a caste system. Because in Bali there is a caste system. And
explain caste so people know what we're talking about. Because I'm thinking either auditions or I'm thinking like caste and metal.
Caste system, the same as there is in India, which is that there's this group of people that are, no matter everyone's born into a caste system that they cannot break free from.
And why can't they break free of it?
Because it's just this societal.
So it's a
demands.
Societal thing.
Yes, the society has chosen, most likely, I'm going to guess that whenever this came about, the the most powerful and the most richest people are the ones who decided this for everybody. Mm-hmm. But most people are put into the lowest caste, which is your peasants, basically. And then from there, there's the second caste of people, which is going to be like merchants. Third caste will be like your royalty and warriors. And then that highest caste is the priests. And
the holies.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
caste is basically kind of like a societal bracket almost.
In your place in society, in your place forever.
To put it in a way for uneducated people to understand, it's just basically a place where society kind of categorizes you based off of how much wealth you have. Or where you stand
where
in
you
society,
come from, your family.
And your family, your heritage, and et cetera.
Yep. So then another part of their name will come from where they are in the caste system. And then they may also have either a nickname or even something that a parent, when naming their child, wants for them. Maybe they'll put a name in there that's just like kind of a good fortune name to them or something like that.
Like Cookie or something. Just doesn't matter what it is.
Sure. Or even a nickname based on their look. Sometimes they'll have
Funny Bones.
Sure.
Okay.
But I did print this out because I didn't want to get these names wrong. So like the firstborn is normally always and this is either female or male.
Across the board doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think maybe.
And I just want to say I love that.
Sometimes it does matter, but a lot of these names are both male and female. So for firstborn,
it's like a reversible sweater.
So firstborn is often Wayan, Putu, or I believe you pronounce it Gede. Secondborn, Made or Kadek. Thirdborn, Nyoman or Koman. And fourthborn is Katut. But I guess even like Katut is a much rarer, more rare name to hear because a lot of families don't have a fourth child. But yeah, so I feel like that's really cool and unique and fascinating. So you can hear oftentimes, if you are well versed in the way that Balinese name their children, you can hear somebody's name and know a lot about them. You can know, you are the
poor person.
You're the firstborn and you are from this caste.
Your dad's a peasant. He's been struggling. Also, your grandfather's been struggling as well. Also, you're going to be trapped in this peasant phase, at least for this life, kind of basically. Right? So my question is, if someone's born into, what would you say the lowest class is? Probably a peasant. And this is no disrespect to peasants because they're very hard workers.
Well, and 90% of people are in that.
So 90% of people are peasants.
And it's called the Sudra.
Okay.
Is the name of the.
So a Sudra, and then Sudra would be, and then like his second name would be.
I don't know. I don't know the order.
Okay.
I'm just.
So it could be something like Sudra.
No. Sudra is the name of the lowest caste. Actually, the name that would go with Sudra would either be E for a male or Ni for a female. So you'd work that into the rest of the name.
Okay, so we'll go with E.
So it's a male like
E.
Look, you're gonna try to invent a name right now, but
no, I'm not trying to invent
the order,
a name.
and I don't know the order. I didn't.
So is this going to be inaccurate then?
Yeah, this isn't even one of the things that I think we should spend time. It's just have the information, but as far as you trying to do this exercise where you are making up names, I want to say go ahead and do it, but you might be really inaccurate.
Well, this is all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So if there's a guy who his father was a peasant, so his name is something, Sue, whatever, and then you throw on a brown hair because he's got brown hair. Maybe he's got brown hair all over his body.
Yeah, they could do that.
Okay, so that guy, he's born a peasant. He can't rise up to be a different level at all during his life. There's nothing he can do. There's no good deeds, nothing like that. Do you die? Are you born a peasant, you die a peasant, and then maybe the next life you kind of upgrade to the next level? How do they think about that?
I don't know what they think about reincarnation as far as where you are in the caste system in your second life or your third or fourth, whatever.
Well, because here's what I also want to ask, because I feel like maybe we've talked about this before, but are children not just like basically reincarnated old people?
So, yeah, I've told you that.
So that's what I mean.
That they're reincarnated. The babies are believed to be reincarnated ancestors.
So it's kind of almost a bummer that the ancestors are then being reborn again into like peasantry.
Well, yeah, I don't know how the Balinese are with Hinduism and what is different about their version of Hinduism than in India. But the things that are similar are some of the gods, right? The trinity of the three gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. But then they have their own gods. But they have other gods, I should say. Those are their gods as well. But then they have other gods that may be based on animals or. Mm-hmm. But the one throughout their life wants to get to the place where they no longer go through the cycle of life, that they're
done with life,
that they're no longer reincarnated into life.
Got it. They're just into the next realm almost, huh?
Yeah.
In respect to that place, huh? Mm-hmm. Respect to getting to there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'll give you just another.
What a nightmare! What a nightmare to be to be born a peasant, to grow your entire life as a peasant, go old as an old person, die as an old person, then be born again as a baby, but you're actually just an old person in the baby's body, and then you have to go about that life for another life?
Okay, well, I wouldn't say
that's insane.
Nightmare.
That sounds like a nightmare, though. That sounds like an awful dream.
Well, you are speaking as
respectfully.
A man of Western culture.
And respect to the West. But also respect to the East and also the North and the South, because the North and the South don't even get a lot of attention because it's so cold. So respect to everywhere. So, gosh, I do want to go to Bali, but I feel like I'm glad that I was born in America.
Yeah, and you should be.
I'm grateful. Also, and I don't even mean to wear this shirt while I'm speaking such American things.
Yeah, you should. You are fortunate.
I know that.
However,
you are too as well.
However, the Balinese people, I don't know that they're as hard as they work, while 90% of them are working in rice fields, working probably a harder day's work than most people we know, or most people we associate with.
Well, these are the peasants. Right?
Nobody's saying that they're unhappy. I never said they were unhappy. I believe that many of them are content, that they don't have the money to travel outside of their beautiful country,
right.
Or sorry, beautiful island. Bali is not a country. Outside of their beautiful island, but they for one, they have such strong ties to their religion, to their spirituality, that is extremely fulfilling for them. And they have people from all around the world coming to their beautiful island because it is such a magical place.
I'm fucking trying to go there right now. I'm trying to go.
And they take that as such a sense of pride for them, that everyone wants to come to the place they live.
I do want to go to the place that they live, mm-hmm. But I do not want to be born a peasant in Bali, what is Bali? Bali. And then have to live that vicious cycle over and over and over and over and over and over. That's all I'm saying.
And I don't know the details of the reincarnation stuff. I already mentioned.
So you don't have any more information on that? It's fine if you don't. It's okay. No. It's fine. No. I'm just checking.
But some of the other, you already sort of touched on another thing I wanted to bring up about another cool Balinese thing, is that the babies, as they are believed to be reincarnated ancestors, they are very much treated like such from the moment that they are born. And until it's like at 3 months, they like I said, there's constant ceremonies and rituals in their culture. very beautiful, elaborate ceremonies and rituals where they're dressed in like beautiful garbs and full makeup and just really pretty. But at 3 months of age, they go through a purification ritual. But until they do that, they actually cannot be set on the floor, on the ground. So they are carried around for the first 3 months of their life because the ground is considered unclean.
It's insane. It's insane. That is where you're supposed to be as a baby. On the ground. That's the safest place for you to be.
Okay.
It is the safest place you can be. I can tell you that based off of my own experience. There was a time where I climbed on a chair before I could even walk. I was probably 4 or 5 months old. Maybe even younger. I was crawling around and I climbed up on top of a chair. And my grandmother said to me, "You better get off that chair. You're going to fall down." And you know what I did? I stood on the chair. And I fell off that fucking chair and I busted my lip open. I had to get stitches immediately. Anywhere above the ground is a hazard for a small being. I don't care if you're an 80-year-old being trapped in a 3-month-old body.
Okay, well, they are being carried.
Okay. Well, here's what I want to say. Whoever is carrying them better be full of strength and better be a healthy individual, because if you're going to drop an 80-year-old 3-month-old baby on the ground when it should already be on the ground just getting used to the things on the ground, like bugs, like ants, like dirt, like knowing how to walk through a house when there is a fire. You need to be able to be on the ground. So if you're going to take that from a child and not let that development happen, then the person carrying that child better be whispering everything that kid needs to be knowing the whole time.
So another cool thing that they do
continue
around the ages of 16 to 18, it's a rite of passage. They have
their hymen?
No.
Thank God.
They have a tooth filing that they undergo tooth filing where their upper incisors and canines are filed because the fangs are thought to be similar to demons and
what
dogs and they file their teeth. So that happens.
Hair in my mouth.
Well, I'm going to take advantage of that and just keep on going.
Well, because what I'm going to say is that's insane.
You keep saying that's insane, and what you should say is, "Wow, that's really interesting." Yes, that's very different.
That's what insane means.
No,
insane. It doesn't mean
literally means.
It doesn't. Here's
crazy.
Here's not what it means. Those people are whacked.
Unwell in the brain. Insane is not.
It depends on the delivery. Wow. Depends on the delivery of the insane.
Okay.
The entire time that I've been saying insane, I've been saying it in a way of just like mind blown insane.
Got it. Okay.
Also kind of crazy that you're going to file your teeth down because it seems like it would very hurt. And also you kind of need these teeth.
People are very different around the entire world. A lot of years, hundreds, thousands of years of culture that has brought people to where they are today based on where they are in the world.
I'm not hating on the culture. I'm not in no way. I am only curious about every culture that is not my own. Mm-hmm. And even curious about my own culture because I think it's just so fascinating. But the idea of sanding down or grinding down your teeth just seems like you're going to make chewing a little difficult.
So one of the big things that they're constantly doing in those ceremonies and rituals is these purification rituals, right? Or ridding them, mm-hmm. ridding the area or themselves or whatever of evil spirits. Mm-hmm. So clearly that is very demons and evil spirits. This is something that's very much on their minds, right? Very much a part of their religious ceremonies. So if they want to file those teeth down because they believe those are similar to demon teeth, is it so crazy?
No, I guess it's not. I mean, I guess to me the logic of it is I just think of it differently. Mm-hmm. But I respect the decision.
No religion can we consider any religion logical?
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
But it's still, in my opinion, I love religion. I think it's very cool.
For sure.
And it's people's different stories and how different religions came about and how many there are and all of the subtleties in each one. Like,
it's all so fascinating.
It is.
And I don't say that to shut you up. I promise you. That's not what I'm trying to do.
So anyway, but
what I am going to say is, what I was going to say was that I'm not in no way thinking maybe their culture is goofy for them shaving their teeth down. I'm just thinking, man, that would really hurt.
Most of them say it doesn't hurt from what I've read.
Then they are the strongest people that I probably will ever have encountered.
Maybe they are. They've said it's uncomfortable a little. But
well, I guess here's one thing that actually just came to my mind. I actually grind my teeth a lot in my sleep sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I say a lot and then sometimes it kind of counteracts each other. But what I mean is when I do grind my teeth, sometimes when I sleep, I grind it well. And I'm wondering if that's actually maybe me self-consciously kind of getting the demons out of my own body, trying to purify my own teeth.
Maybe.
That's something I never really thought about until this moment.
So I feel like I got to kind of wrap up the Bali stuff because it's running a little long.
But gosh, just some juicy information.
Yeah, really fascinating people.
Really fascinating wife.
And they, and then shortly after, they have those rites of passage, right? But then later on in life, birthdays, age, not really a concern of theirs, which I love that they're that way. I think that's really cool. So much so that I guess a lot of Balinese people wouldn't even be able to tell you how old they are.
Now, is this just because they've kind of a lot of head trauma from like the teeth filing and stuff?
No, that they are not so concerned with birthdays and age.
I think that's great. I think we could use a little of that over here in California.
Absolutely, in Hollywood.
And Hollywood could use that. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of Balinese actors out here.
Yeah, it's true.
So what's up with that, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't. I imagine their teeth look fine.
But I would like to.
I don't imagine that's it.
I'd like to sort of sum up the
if we could wrap this
thing
up because we need to get this podcast
by just saying that they are, from everything I've learned, they are such a wonderful, welcoming, friendly people, and their religion to me is super beautiful, and yeah, the last thing, there's so many of these ceremonies, so many rituals that they constantly do. And a priest actually has to pick
This is a Catholic priest?
No.
Okay.
Remember, they're Hindu.
Right. Hindu priest.
So a priest picks a date for each one of these things that goes on, an auspicious date, so a fortunate, a lucky sort of date. And then these ceremonies, they're carried out by the people. They don't have to be carried out in a temple. They can happen right on the streets, which means that tourists get to experience a lot of them.
There's going to be a lot of cleanup.
But one of the coolest ones, the one I found most interesting, and I'm going to get this paper out again just so I pronounce it correctly, and I'm probably not even going to do it there. I believe it's called, I'm going to try, Nyepi. It's so it's a purification ceremony, but it's like for the whole island. So leading up to that, they are having these rituals that are, without going into detail because we're running out of time, they're trying to banish these evil spirits, right? Get them out of the island.
We already, but with
there's a lot of that goes on.
Going on.
So on this day, beginning at sunrise, everything in Bali shuts down.
Coffee shops and everything.
Everything shuts down. If you are a tourist, you don't necessarily have to partake in what they're doing, which is a lot of introspect and meditation, but you are not supposed to go walking out on the streets. If you are doing so, you'll be escorted back to your hotel. You really have to respect the Balinese at this time on this one day of respect them always, but on this one day of the year, they stop doing everything except, like I said, meditation and introspective things. They do not go outside.
So you couldn't even go outside in like a disguise or something?
No. And the reason is that they are trying to, meanwhile, they've already spent the night before trying to banish these evil spirits, right?
Sanding the teeth and everything.
No, not the sanding wasn't
maybe
happening
not
the night before.
Okay.
But then the day of not being able to go out or anything, they were trying to fool the evil spirits into believing that Bali has been abandoned and that the evil spirits should just pass on and just move on. Don't stop at Bali. Just keep on going. And that is why there's that. That's why they do that. And so it's like, that's such a cool ritual, ceremony, detail.
So are they doing this every year?
Every year.
So every year, after they've done the day where their coffee shops are closed, the next day that things open back up, do you know if are they like, oh yeah, we did it, they're out of here? Or is it like, well, we're gonna have to do this again next year?
Well, they always do it every year.
I know, but that's what I'm asking. Like, are they doing it every year out of a tradition, or are they doing it every year because they're like, man, these fucking guys are back. We got to get these spirits out of here.
I believe it's both, but I don't know that their outlook is, oh man, these fucking guys are back.
Well, it's hard to say because we've never been over there.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's
okay,
true.
so that's all okay. That's great information.
If I didn't, I feel like Bali deserved so much more than.
Well, God, it deserves its own island.
If I didn't do it justice, I am sorry, because everything I've learned about these people is awesome, and
everything you taught me today has been incredible, and some of it has been insane.
All right, well, I'm done.
Great. Well, you guys, that's first of all, that was really great information. I don't want you to think that it's not appreciated here on Heavy Bangs.
Mm-hmm.
You know that you're valued on this team.
Motivational speech of the day.
It's that time. It's that time to feel better. You just had that juicy information pushed into your brains, and now you're ready to digest and just kind of feel good. And that's what this section's about, isn't it?
We hope so.
It is. So why don't we go ahead and kind of figure out what is it today? Today, what is it what is it about? The kind of motivation behind today's episode.
You're looking for a word?
Just anything to kind of help motivate people who maybe be feeling down. Maybe they're feeling a little overwhelmed with a lot of Balinese information. Maybe they're questioning whether or not they need to have their teeth filed, or maybe they're not even wanting to go to Bali anymore because they're going to be closed one day and they're not going to be able to get a coffee or something.
Okay. I mean, all right.
So what comes to mind?
Dice.
Dice. Can you define dice? Like the roll of the dice?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, here's what I want to say is gamble. Gamble a little. I know a lot of people stay away from it, and it breaks a lot of families. But I think you should gamble. Gamble on life. We only got one, So why not double down? Why not even split it and double down on both of those? That's what I'm asking you. Because you only got one. Unless you're Balinese and you got one, and then you're born into a new one, but you're an old one when you're born into it, and then you just become an old little baby until you're dead again, and then you do the cycle over again. But what I'm saying is, if you're not Balinese, then you only got one. And roll the dice, gamble a little bit. Don't be afraid to shake it down. Don't be afraid to place a $10 bet on a $5 table. It's okay. The dealer's not going to shut you down. Just make sure you tip the dealer if you win the hand. It's a little respectful. And don't be disrespectful to other people at the table. Make sure you're kind of playing fairly, because you don't want to upset those people. You end up losing, and they'll end up leaving the table, and then you're just gonna be playing with the dealer. And then it's just you and the dealer, and to be honest, the odds aren't the best. And I'm just speaking on my own personal experience here at the Lucky 7 Casino a couple weeks ago. And but one thing it did teach me was that that is worth it. It's worth it every time. It's worth it every time to double down, whether the cards even show it right. Double down on it. You only got one of these, and you're gonna die. You're gonna die, and I don't mean to say that twice in a row like that, But I really was trying to emphasize the point, to let you know that it is important to live your life to the fullest. That even if you're feeling that after being married depression, just shake it. It's not here forever. Maybe it is. I mean, according to a lot of people I've spoke to, it seems like it's here for a very long time to stay. And all you can do is shake it. Shake it and throw it. And hope that you get 7s or 11s. Sometimes you are going to get snake eyes, and those are going to fuck you up a little bit, and they might even cause you some debt. But just know that 7s and 11s are around the corner. And the odds of 7s and 11s are pretty good. They're pretty good. And I've actually had myself a fair share of 7s and 11s when I used to roll some stuff. And I am continuing to roll even now. Even in this podcast is a bit of a gamble. You know, I got 23 listeners, and I got to provide for them. I got to provide for them all. And you can't do that if you're not trusting that, you know, the cards are in your favor, that God's on your side. And also make sure and feed your dog. You actually have to feed them and make sure that they have water, and take them out to go to the bathroom too. And if you're not doing that, there's going to be a lot of shit and piss probably in your apartment and house and stuff. So just make sure that you're placing the bets. Make sure that you're being respectful to the other people on the table. Make sure you're tipping your dealer, making sure that you're also not being too friendly with the dealer also, because they could be kind of an asshole sometimes. So all I'm asking you for here and now is to never get a fucking rooster, and never have your dogs bark incessantly nonstop while also the neighbor is dealing with a rooster at the same time. And know that the dice are going to roll 7 and 11. Maybe not at the same time, depends on how many dice you have, but if you're rolling dice the way that you're supposed to be rolling, there's really no way that you can get 7 and 11 actually the same game or the same roll. So just know that a 7 or 11 is coming, and don't be scared of it. And don't be afraid to just wear underpants sometimes. A lot of us think that we shouldn't because it's summertime and it's a little hot out, but it is super important to wear those micro, what are those called? Those antimicrobial underwear. Those antimicrobial underwear are actually really great for kind of keeping moisture off your body and kind of in your pants, which is where it should be. And it's also where the dice should be when you're kind of going in between games. You should keep them in your pocket and in your pants where they're safe. So just make sure and lock it up, and keep that sock on.